I used to think the bathroom was the safest place in the house. A locked door, running water, the simple comfort of being alone. But I was wrong, because one night, I learned the truth. I wasn't alone in the tub. And now, it won't let me leave. That night started like any other. The house was quiet, except for the hum of the fridge in the kitchen and the occasional groan of the old pipes. I wanted nothing more than to soak the stress of the day away. I poured lavender bath salts into the steaming water, lit 2 candles on the sink, and lowered myself into the tub. The warmth wrapped around me instantly, and I closed my eyes, trying to let my body go weightless in the still water. For a moment, I felt at peace. I thought I'd just shifted, so I ignored it. But a few seconds later, it came again, this time stronger, like something had dipped a hand into the bath with me. My eyes shot open. The surface was calm, reflecting the trembling light of the candles. Nothing was there. I took a deep breath, laughed nervously, and tried to relax. I told myself my mind was playing tricks. But then I felt it. A touch. Cold. Smooth. Something brushed across my calf under the water. My heart slammed in my chest. I sat up straight, sending ripples across the tub. The room was empty. The only sound, the faint dripping of condensation on the tiles. I whispered to myself, "It's nothing. Just nerves. Just the water moving." But I knew it wasn't. The touch had been deliberate, soft but certain, like fingers testing the weight of my skin. I held still, staring into the water. That's when I noticed it, tiny bubbles rising from the opposite end of the tub, as though something was submerged beneath me, exhaling my breath. Caught. I leaned forward slowly, straining to see through the frothy water. But before I could, a sound made me jump and knock at the door. 3 sharp raps echoed through the bathroom. My wet hand slipped against the porcelain edge, my body jerking. "Who's there?" I asked, but my voice came out cracked, fragile. Silence. My eyes darted back to the door. The knob didn't move. I told myself it was the pipes. Maybe the wood creaked. Then it came again. Louder this time. I sat frozen, every muscle in my body pulled tight. And then the water moved. Not from me, not from the knocking. A pale hand surfaced, fingers long and limp, breaking through the bubbles just inches from my legs. My scream filled the room, echoing against the tiles as I scrambled backward, almost slipping. The hand sank slowly back under, disappearing into the darkness of the water. I pressed my back against the cold wall, trembling. I should have gotten out. Should have unlocked the door and run, but I couldn't. My body refused to obey. It felt like something invisible weighed me down, pressing me into place. And then, slowly, the doorknob began to twist. Metal scraping metal, turning even though I had locked it. I clutched the towel draped over the side, ready to wrap myself and fight if I had to. But the knob stilled. The silence pressed in, heavier than before. I turned toward the tub again, and this time the water was perfectly still. Too still. Waiting. I tried to steady my breathing, to convince myself I was hallucinating. But then the fog on the mirror cleared, and what I saw shattered me. It wasn't my reflection staring back. It was her. Long, wet hair clinging to her face, skin gray, swollen, cracked like she'd been underwater for days. Her head tilted at an impossible angle, and her lips curled into a smile too wide, too pale to be human. She was in the tub, watching me. I stumbled backward until my spine hit the tiled wall. My mouth opened, but no sound came out. Then she moved not in the mirror, but in the tub itself. The water rippled as her body rose, first her shoulders, then her chest, dripping and quivering. Her hair veiled her face, but through the strands I could still see those eyes. Lifeless. Hungry. I lunged for the door, yanking with everything I had. It didn't move. The handle cut into my palm as I twisted and pulled. Nothing. I turned toward the window, grabbed the soap dish, and smashed it against the glass. Shards flew, but the pain didn't crack. Not even a scratch. My panic doubled. That's when I realized I wasn't trapped in my bathroom anymore. I was trapped in hers. The air thickened, heavy with damp, rot, and the sour smell of stagnant water. My lungs struggled for breath. The walls seemed darker, closing in with mold spreading across the tiles. The ceiling dripped steadily, each drop louder than the last, like a ticking clock. She didn't move fast. She didn't need to. Every time I blinked, she was closer. First in the tub, then crouched on the tiles. Then kneeling, just a foot away, her head cocked like a predator studying its prey. "Please," I begged, my voice trembling. "What do you want?" Her lips parted, but what came out wasn't words. It was a laugh, wet, bubbling, like it came from lungs filled with water. The lights flickered, the candles guttered out, and in the suffocating darkness, I heard her whisper in my ear, so close I could feel the cold breath. "Stay." Time lost all meaning. Minutes or hours passed. I couldn't tell. My skin wrinkled as if I'd been in the water forever. Tog primera, then I stepped back inside. The whispers grew louder, layering over each other. "Stay. Don't leave. You're mine." The shadows moved on their own, bending toward me. Every corner of the bathroom pulsed with her presence. At one point, I tried to convince myself it wasn't real, that this was just my mind unraveling. I laughed nervously, the sound cracking, trying to cling to some shred of sanity. But then her hand brushed mine again, colder than ice, real and undeniable. My laughter turned to sobs. Then, without warning, the door creaked open on its own, just enough to reveal the hallway beyond. Relief surged through me, wild and desperate. The hallway wasn't my house. The walls dripped with moisture, streaked with dark mold. The floorboards sagged beneath my weight, as if rotting from within. The air stank of mildew and decay. And when I turned back, the bathroom door was gone, replaced by a solid wall, slick and damp, pulsing faintly like flesh. I wasn't free. I had only gone deeper. And bang me, I heard it, the steady drip of water, the shuffle of bare, wet feet following close. I ran, but every hallway twisted into another. Every door opened to another damp corridor. No windows, no escape. The house had no end, and she was always just behind me. Sometimes I'd hear her laugh, gurgling through waterlogged lungs. Sometimes I'd see her reflection in cracked mirrors that lined the walls, even when she wasn't physically there. Once, I opened a door and found myself staring back into the bathroom again, the tub waiting, steaming, as though I'd never left at all. I don't know how long I've been here. The air is always damp. The floor is always wet. My skin is cold, and sometimes I see my reflection wrinkled and pale, as if I've been soaking for days. Sometimes I wonder if I ever really left the tub. Maybe I'm still in the water, eyes closed, breathing shallow, while she pulls me under inch by inch. So if you ever feel safe behind a locked bathroom door, don't. Because I wasn't alone in the tub, and now it won't let me leave. And maybe one day, it won't let you leave either. This was only one nightmare. If you dare, click here for the next story. One even darker than this. But be careful. Some doors, once opened, never close again.